Good morning, children. The new questions and ideas, we were in that chapter. So you had learned what was the language used to compose the Vedas, the story of the Buddha, right? What were the new questions in those times, right? What were the new ideas? The story of Kistagami, you have learned, right? The woman, right, who was asking the Buddha to bring her son back to life. You have learned about that story, and Buddha said that you have to bring the mustard seeds andra sasmi kalu from anyone's house in whose home the death has not happened. So everyone says that the father has died, mother has died, sister has died, brother has died, child has died. So in every home there is a sorrow, there is a dukkha, sadness is there. There is no home which does not have any sadness, right? So next we'll move to the Upanishads. Around the time that the Buddha was preaching, and perhaps a little earlier, other thinkers also tried to find answers to difficult questions. Some of them wanted to know about the life after death. Yes, some people wanted to know what happens when the life ends. What is the life after death? Are we going to still live? Is our Atma going to live? Right? Is our soul going to live after our death? What happens to the soul? Dead body is burnt, or it is going to be what you can say, it is going to be put in the underground like that. But what happens to the Atma? What happens to the soul? Is it going to live after the death also? Where we are going to go after the death? Is it in the heaven or in the hell? Where we will go after our death? So these were the questions. So others wanted to know why sacrifices should be performed. So why we are doing the yagnas and all, why we are going to give the sacrifices, right? Why we are doing it? Many of these thinkers felt that there was something permanent in the universe that would last even after death. They find out that there is one thing which is very permanent in the universe, that is not going to die, that is going to live after the death. That answer they wanted to know. There is something, what you can say, energy. There is something which is there, which is going to be there even after the death also. They described this as the Atma, or the individual soul, and the Brahman, or the universal soul. They said that there is one universal soul which is going to live even after our death. It is not going to die. It is going to remain forever in the universe. They believed that it is a universal soul, or it is a Brahmana, or it is going to the individual soul, or the Atman. They believed that ultimately both the Atma and the Brahmana were one. Means Atma and the Brahma both are the one. They are not different. Many of their ideas were recorded in the Upanishads. These were the part of the later Vedic text. So many of their ideas were there. They were recorded and they were called the Vedic texts. The Upanishads means approaching and sitting near, and the text contains conversations between the teachers and the students. As I already told you in the last class, what is the Upanishads? Upanishads is the conversation between the teachers and the students. Often ideas were presented through simple dialogues. They were presented through how? Simple dialogues. Like how you do watch the dramas, no? In that how the drama is carried out with the dialogues only, the dramas are carried out. Same thing here in the Upanishads, you see the dialogues. Most Upanishadic thinkers were men, especially Brahmins and Rajas. So who were the Upanishads? Who were reading the Upanishads? Who were writing the Upanishads? They were the Brahmanas, or they were the kings. Such as occasionally there is a mention of women thinkers. Occasionally there is a mention of women thinkers also, and such as the Gargi. So woman thinker, who is she? She is the Gargi, right, who was famous for learning and participated in debates held in the royal courts. Her name was Gargi, and she had participated in the debates, means the discussions held where in the royal courts. Poor people rarely took part in these discussions. So poor people, they rarely took part in all these discussions. Because why they were taking very less part in this discussion? Because they were not allowed, they were not uneducated also, and they were not allowed to participate in these discussions. One famous exception was Satyakamba Jabala, who was named after his mother, the slave woman Jabali. So one exception was there. Even though he was poor, he was able to get the education, and he was named after his mother, who was a slave. Slave andre aalu, dasi. He had a deep desire to learn about reality and was accepted as a student by a Brahmin teacher named Gautama. So there was a Brahmin teacher, Gautama, who came to know that this child has the desire to learn. For that, he accepted him as the student and became one of the best known thinkers of the time. See here, this boy became what? The best known thinkers in those times. Many of the ideas of the Upanishads were later developed by the famous thinker Shankaracharya, about whom we will read in class 7th. So later all the developments in the ideas of the Upanishads were developed by whom? Shankaracharya. Right. Now let us see Panani the grammarian. This was also the time when other scholars were at work. So other scholars were doing their work. One of the most famous was the Panani, who prepared a grammar for Sanskrit. So this Panani had prepared the grammar for the Sanskrit. He arranged the vowels and the consonants in a special order and then used to create formulae like those found in algebra. So he was creating the formulas like how you find the formulas in algebra. A plus b whole square is equal to a square plus 2ab plus b square. A minus b whole square is equal to a square minus 2ab plus b square. A square minus b square is equal to a plus b into bracket a minus b. Like this you have lot of formulas, right? Like those formulas he was making in Sanskrit also, lot of formulas. He used these to write down the rules of the language in the short formulae. He used them to what? To write the rules of the languages in short formulae, around 3000 of them. So 3000 of them he had used to write them in the language in the short formulas. Jainism, the last and the 24th Tirthankara of Jains were the Vardhamana Mahavira, also spread his message around this time, that is 2500 years ago. So Mahavira, he was a Kshatriya king, he was the prince of Licchavis. He belonged to the group of the Vajji Sangha, about which you will read in the chapter 5. At the age of 30, what happened? He left his home. He went to live in a forest. For 12 years, he had a very hard and the lonely life. At the end of which, what he did? He attained the enlightenment. Means he was able to know the truth of the God. Right? He was able to get connection with the God. He taught a simple doctrine. Men and women who wished to know the truth must leave their homes. He told that one who wants to know the truth of life, what is going to happen after life and death, if you want to know all these questions, why the sacrifices should be performed and all, to know the answers for these questions, to know the truth of life, what you have to do? You have to leave your homes. They must follow very strictly the rules of ahimsa, which means not hurting or killing the human beings. So what? You must know the very strict rules of the ahimsa. Ahimsa means you should not kill anybody, you should not hurt anybody. All living beings, said Mahavira, had a long to live. So all living beings had the right to live, long years they have to live. Ordinary, to all the things life is dear. So all the things, it may be a human beings or it may be the animals, for them what is the dear? Life is the dear. Life is the utmost thing. Health is important. If you have wealth and if you don't have wealth, what is the use? So what is important? Health is important. So for all the living beings, what is important? The life is important. The life is the dear. Ordinary people could understand the teachings of Mahavira and his followers. So ordinary people could understand the teachings and they can follow their preachings, because they used the Prakrit language. In those times they were talking in the Prakrit language, so they have used the Prakrit language. And now you all are speaking, your mother tongue is Kannada. If I explain anything in Kannada, what happens? You immediately understand, right? So like that, in the olden days, they were talking in which language? Prakrit language. So all his teachings, he had written it in the Prakrit language, or he used to tell it in the Prakrit language. There were several forms of Prakrit used in different parts of the country and named after the regions in which they were used. For example, the Prakrit spoken in Magadha was known as Magadhi. So what happens here? The people in area, what they were speaking, according to that the Prakrit language name was changed. In Magadha, it was Magadhi, right? Followers of Mahavira, who were known as Jainas, had to live very simple lives, begging for food. They had to be absolutely honest and were especially asked not to steal. Also, they had to observe celibacy, and men had to give up everything, including their clothes. Here they are telling that the followers of Mahavira is telling that who were known as Jainas had to live very simple life. Their life should not be a sophisticated life. ಆಡಂಬರದ ಜೀವನ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ರಿ, ಸರಳ ಜೀವನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬೆಗ್ಗಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಫುಡ್, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬೆಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಫುಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಇಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ನೋ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೇ. ವೆನ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಬೆಗ್ಗಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮಚ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಈಟ್. ಈ ಎರಡು ಕೈ ನಾವು ಮುಷ್ಟಿನಾಗ ಏನು ಬರ್ತೈತಲ್ರಿ ಊಟ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ ತಿನ್ನಬೇಕು, ಅದ್ರಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ತಿನ್ನಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಅಬ್ಸಲ್ಯೂಟ್ಲಿ ಬಿ ಹಾನೆಸ್ಟ್. ದೇ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಅ ಹಾನೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪೀಪಲ್, ರೈಟ್? ನಿಯತ್ತಿಂದ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಟೀಲ್, ತುಡುಗು ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ದ ಆಲ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ದ ಸಿಲಿಬ್ಯಾಸಿ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೆನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ಅಪ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ದೇರ್ ಕ್ಲೋತ್ಸ್. ಮೆನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ಅಪ್ ದೇರ್ ಕ್ಲೋತ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಜೈನ, ದ ವರ್ಡ್ ಜೈನ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಜಿನ್ನ, meaning conqueror. So meaning conqueror. Why do you think the term Jaina, Jinna was used for Mahavira? Because he was a conqueror. He was a conqueror of all the things. ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಮೋಷನ್ಸನ್ನ ಕಾಂಕರ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಗರ್, ಲವ್, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್, ಸ್ಯಾಕ್ರಿಫೈಸ್, ಆಲ್ ದ ಎಮೋಷನ್ಸ್ he had conquered. So they are called as the Jains. It was very difficult for most men and women to follow these strict rules. Nevertheless, thousands left their homes to learn and teach this new way of life. Many more remained behind and supported those who became the monks and nuns, providing them with the food. So what happened? It was most difficult to do for the men and women of the Jainism, but these rules were very strict rules. They had to be followed. Nevertheless, thousands of people decided that they will leave the home and they will follow and they will adopt this new way of life. Many more remained behind and they supported those who became the monks and the nuns, providing them with the food. So many of them, they were afraid of this all things. What they did, they decided that they will have the family and they will be in the places and they will provide the food for them who are adopting the Jainism. Jainism was supported mainly by traders. Farmers who had to kill insects to protect their crops found it more difficult to follow the rules. So Jainism was supported mainly by traders. Traders means merchants, right? ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಸ್ಥರು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು. ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಟು ಕಿಲ್ ದ ಇನ್ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ಸನ್ನ ಸಾಯಿಸಲೇಬೇಕು ಅವರು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕೇರ್, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್, ದೇ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಯಾರಿಗೆ? ಕ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್. ಫೌಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೋರ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಟು ಫಾಲೋ ದ ರೂಲ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ಡಿಂಟ್ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ದ ಜೈನಿಸಮ್, whereas the traders, they adopted the Jainism. Over 100 of years, Jainism spread different parts of the North India to Gujarat, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. So Jainism had spread to the different parts of North India and to Gujarat, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. The teachings of Mahavira and his followers were transmitted orally by several centuries. So orally by several centuries it was transmitted. That is the teachings of Mahavira. It was not written. It was orally transmitted from one person to the another person in several centuries. They were written down in the form in which they are presently available at a place called Walabhi in Gujarat. They are written down right, after some years, after some centuries, what happened, they had got written down, and that is there where now, that's written script, where it is in Walabhi in Gujarat, about 1500 years ago. So about 1500 years ago, this all the preachings had been written down in one book. It is in Walabhi in Gujarat. The Sangha, both the Mahavira and the Buddha felt that only those who left their homes could gain true knowledge. So the persons who can, in the Mahavira, both the Mahavira and Buddha, according to their teaching, they tell that if you leave their homes only, you can understand the true knowledge. They arranged for them to stay together in the Sangha, an association of those who left their homes. So how you were made to live? You are made to live in the Sangha. Sangha means an association and group of people who have left their homes. The rules made for the Buddhist Sangha were written down in a book called the Vinaya Pitika. So whatever their Buddhist Sangha, the rules made, they were written down in one book called the Vinaya Pitika. From this we know that there were separate branches for men and women. So here there were branches, they had made branches for the men and women. They were living separately, who? Men and women. All men could join the Sangha, however children had to take the permission of their parents, and slaves that of their masters. Those who worked for the king had to take his permission, and the debtors of that of creditors. Women had to take their husband's permission. Here, in order to join this Sangha or this association, what happens? The men has to take the permission of their parents, and slaves. Slaves means alagalu. They have to take the permission from their masters, and those who have worked for the king, they have to take the permission of the king. And those who had to pay the debtors to the creditors, they have to take their permission, and they can become the monk, right? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬುದ್ಧಿಸಮ್ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತ ಮನಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ವುಮನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ದ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಹಸ್ಬೆಂಡ್ಸ್. Men and women who joined the Sangha led simple lives. So the men and women who had joined this Sangha had to live the simple life. They cannot live the modern life. They cannot live, or they cannot live the sophisticated life, right? They have to live the simple life. They meditated for most of the time. Meditated means jnana. They used to do the jnana for most of the time, and went to cities and villages to beg for food during fixed hours. So during fixed hours, what they used to do? They used to go home, and they were begging for the food, right? During the fixed hours only they were made to beg the food, right? That is why they were known as the bhikkhus. The Prakrit word renouncer, beggar. So according to the Prakrit language, bhikkhus means beggars, right? And bhikkhunis means all beggars only, men and women beggars. They taught others and helped one another. They also held meetings to settle any quarrels that took place within the Sangha. So what happened here? They also held the meetings. They were doing the meetings to settle any quarrels that took place within the Sangha. Any jagala gigala idra, quarrels idra, in order to solve that, what they were doing? They were sitting in, they used to held the meetings at one place, and they used to solve their quarrels ಅಂದರೆ ಜಗಳಗಳು ವಿತಿನ್ ದ ಸಂಘ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಜಗಳ ಬಂದು ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ಡ್ ವೇರ್ meetings ಮಾಡಿ they used to solve it. Those who joined the Sangha included Brahmins, Kshatriyas, merchants, laborers, barbers, courtesans and slaves. Many of them wrote down the teachings of the Buddha. Some of them also composed beautiful poems describing their life in the Sangha. So here the people were not from only one community, or they were not from only one profession, they were all from the different professions. For example, there were Brahmins, there were Kshatriyas, there were merchants, there were laborers, there were barbers, there were courtesans were there were slaves also. All were in the what they were in the Sangha. They had made association and they were following the teachings of the Buddha. Some of them also composed beautiful poems, right? The teachings, whatever the Buddha was teaching, that they had composed poems describing what the life in the Sangha, about their life in the Sangha, how they were leading the life in the Sangha. All Sangha means the life, the total of all the people who had left their homes and who had come here, who had followed the Buddha, who had left their homes, who had come here, and now they have all made an association and together they are living. And how is their life in the Sangha? A cave hollowed out in the hills. This is a cave in Karle, present-day Maharashtra. Monks and nuns lived and meditated in these shelters. So where they were living in the caves. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಗುಹೆ ಐತಿ, ಗುಹೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಇರ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅವರು. There they used to sit for lot of hours in the meditation. Monasteries, let us see. To begin with, both Jaina and Buddhist monks went from place to place throughout the year teaching people. So what they were doing? They were moving from place to place throughout the year, not for some months, some days, but throughout the year they used to move from one place to another place. What? Teaching the people about how to live the life, how to conquer the mind. They were all teaching how to conquer the jealous, how to conquer the anger, how to conquer the, what you can say, all the negative thoughts that are coming in the mind, how to conquer them, how to live a healthy life as well as peaceful mind, how to meditate, all these things, how to reach the God. These were the teachings told by the monks to the people. The only time they stayed in one place was during the rainy season, when it was very difficult to travel. So whenever there was a rainy season, they were staying in only in one place, because in that season almost for 3 months, 4 months they are unable to travel because of the heavy rain. Then their supporters built temporary shelters for them in gardens, or they lived in natural caves in hilly areas. Then their supporters, what they used to build? They used to build temporary shelters for them in the gardens, or lived in the natural caves in hilly areas. They used to build temporary shelters for themselves when there is a rainy season in the gardens. Or what they used to do? They used to live in the caves, natural caves that is already there in the hilly areas. As the time went on, many supporters of the monks and nuns and they themselves felt the need for more permanent shelters, and so monasteries were built. So what happened, as the time went on, they felt that now we need to have a permanent place. For that sake they built the monasteries, ashramaгаlu, monasteries. They started building it. These were known as the viharas. Viharas means the place where they are going to take the shelter, that they were calling as the viharas. Viharas were made of wood and then of brick. So how they were made? They were made of the wood and some were made of the brick. Some were even in caves that were dug out in hills, especially in western India. So some, what they did, they lived in the caves only that were dug out in the hills, especially in the western India. We are seeing that they were living in the big hills. Inside the caves only they made the viharas. A Buddhist text tells us, just as the waters of rivers lose their names and separateness when they flow into the mighty ocean, so are varna and ranks and family forgotten when the followers of Buddha join the order of monks. So here, as the river loses its identity when it goes to the ocean, when the river water, right, it may be the Ganga, Yamuna, Tungabhadra, in Karnataka Kaveri, when it reaches the ocean, it loses its identity. its name. The water loses its identity as a Kaveri water. It becomes the ocean. It joins the ocean and it becomes the mighty ocean. So as the Varna, whether you may be of the Kshatriya, you may be of the Lingayat community, you may be of the Reddy community, you may be a farmer, you may be of any rank, you may be a slave, you may be the king, or you may be the courtesans, wherever you are living. What happens when you join the monks? When you join the Buddha, when you adopt the Buddhism principles, you become the what? You become the follower of the Buddhisms. You become the follower of the Buddha. You forgot everything, the back history you forget, your home, your life, your wife, your children, your parents, everything you are going to forget, and you are going to become only one thing, that is the follower of the Buddha. You forget all the other things. Very often the land on which the vihara was built was donated by a rich merchant or a landowner or the king. So vihara, it was a gift given by whom? By the land merchant or the big land merchant, landlords, or by the kings. These viharas are the gifts given by the land merchants, big land merchants or the kings. They used to give the gifts. The local people came with gifts of food, clothing and medicines for the monks and nuns. So for the monks and nuns, they were giving, local people were coming up with the gifts of the food. They were giving the food, they were giving the clothing, they were giving the medicines to them. Excuse me. Over the centuries, Buddhism spread to many parts of the subcontinent and beyond. We learn more about this in the next chapter. Let us see now the system of ashramas. So why ashramas were built? Around the time when the Jainism and Buddhism were becoming popular, Brahmins developed the system of ashramas. So what happened when Buddhism and Jainism were becoming popular? That time the Brahmins started the ashramas. Here the word ashrama does not mean a place where people live and meditate. So it is nothing, it in the ashrama meaning is not like that, that where the people live and they go for the meditation. It is not like that. It is used instead for a stage of life. They are telling that it is a stage of life. 4 ashramas were recognized: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Samanyasa. So these were the 4 ashramas were recognized: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Samanyasa. Brahmin, Kshatriya and Vaishya men were expected to lead simple lives and study the Vedas during the early years of their life. So what this system of ashrama says, that Brahmins, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas men were expected to lead a simple lives and study what? The Vedas during the early years of their life. Early years means before the marriage. Early years means from 11 years to 24, 25 years they have to lead this life, and that was called as the Brahmacharya. Then they had to marry and live as householders, Grihastha. After marriage they had to lead their life as householders and they were called as the Grihastha. Then they had to live in the forest and meditate. So after some time they had to live in the forest and meditate. That they call it as a Vanaprastha. Finally they had to give up everything and become sannyasins. So finally what happens when they become old? They have to give up everything and they have to become sannyasinis. This system of ashramas allowed men to spend some of their lives in meditation. Generally, women were not allowed to study the Vedas and they had to follow the ashramas chosen by their husbands. So what happens here? Generally, women were not allowed to study the Vedas. So what they had to do? They had to follow the ashramas chosen by their husbands. They have to go there and they have to live with them. Elsewhere, find Iran in your atlas. Zoroaster was an Iranian prophet So here his teachings are contained in a book called the Avesta. So in Iran, Zoroaster was an Iranian. How in India Buddha was there, no, for who was the prophet, like that, who like that he had written a book called the Avesta. His teachings are written in a book called the Avesta. Now how we have Buddhism, like that. Now in Iran there was a Zoroaster who was a prophet. Prophet means saint. So his teachings they have written in the book called the Avesta. The language of Avesta and the practices described in it are very similar to those of the Vedas. So what he has written in his book Avesta, it is all similar to what? To the Vedas. The basic teachings of Zoroaster are contained in the maxim good thoughts, good words and good deeds. So what Zoroaster says here, good thoughts, good words and good deeds are important. Here is a verse from Zend Avesta. Lord, grant strength and the rule of truth and good thinking, by means of which one shall create peace and tranquility. So what happened? Lord, he is praying the Lord, he is praying the God that grant strength. Grant strength means give me the strength, and rule of truth. Rule of truth means I have to rule the land with the truth, and I should have the good thinking, by means of which one shall create peace and tranquility. By that what happens? One can create what? Peace and tranquility means there should be harmony, happiness. For more than 1,000 years, Zoroastrianism was a major religion in Iran. Later, some Zoroastrians migrated from Iran and settled down in the coastal towns of Gujarat and Maharashtra. They were ancestors of today's, what you can say, Pharisees. So here we can see that for more than 1,000 years Zoroastrianism was a major religion in Iran, and after that what happened? Zoroastrians migrated from Iran and they settled down in the coastal towns of Gujarat and Maharashtra. There these were the ancestors of today's Parsis. So today we have in India Parsi caste, right? That one film, who is there? Akshay Kumar's, what is that? Where he had played the Navy officer role. Is a Farsi Navy officer role. I have just forgot. In the next class, if I remember, I will tell you. In that you can see there. In that movie it is there, right, about the Farsis, how they are living and all, Farsis style of living and all, right? So this how they are. Okay, now this is the end of the chapter. Let's recall, write it down, right? Let's recall, describe. The question answers are there. Let's do, don't write it. Make the list of 5 ideas and questions. Right. Let's do, let's discuss. All you write down exercise and all that. Along with that, write the let's do also. Okay, children. Thank you. This is the end of your chapter. New questions and new ideas. So what are the new questions and what are the new ideas? You came to know that Buddhism came in India, and next Jainism started in India, and after that lot of kings and all they started following it. Kshatriyas, everyone, Brahmanas, they were following it. Mainly merchants, they started following the Jainism. Afterwards came the ashramas, where the Brahmins started the ashramas, 4 ashramas, and people started following it. They were what? There was Brahmacharya, Grihastha ashrama, and one Prasastha, and last one is the right Grihastha ashrama. And after that, what was that one? Vaishya, Kshatriya, right? They developed the 4 ashramas, Vanaprastha and Samanyasa. Like this, there were 4 ashramas which the people started recognizing. Brahmin, Kshatriya and Vaishyas, they started following it, and they started leading their life, and they went for the search of the truth of life. Here they learned how to meditate, do the meditation, how to come near to the God, how to lead a good life. This all way of life, how to lead the way of life, how you should be in the society, how you should be behave in the society, what rules you should follow in the society. All these things, this Jainism, Buddhism and the ashrama culture, all these teaches us. Okay children, thank you.